Hello there. Long time no see. I've been ill. Got an awful chest infection. Actually, the first slot that I missed was because I was busy. It was the second one last week. I was starting to feel a bit ill. And I've been awful all week. Awful cough. I don't like telling you guys that I'm ill, though, because you probably worry about me. I'm fine. I've just got a chest infection. I'm getting over it. But I feel as though the more attentive of you guys probably take notes of when I'm ill. It's like, oh, he's been ill twice now in 12 months. Clearly there is something wrong. Anyway, I'm not overexerting myself this week. I'm going to limit myself to 10 minutes. And in the background we have some Zelda The Wind Waker HD. For it features pirates, and at some point, pretty soon, I'm going to be doing a pirate-themed video. There's a few things in the way first, though. I've still got the Titanfall series to finish, and I do plan on finishing that. Every video, it's like, Stu, why do you cover this dead game? It's not entirely dead, it's just less popular than some other games. So yeah, I do plan to finish the series. There are 4 episodes left, but I don't deem them to be particularly urgent. The thing is, I've got the format down now. I can probably produce 2 of those guides a week, at least when I'm working at full capacity. Also coming up is a Watch Dogs video. I'm working on that as a priority, just to take advantage of the fact that it's just come out. So I'm hoping to get a decent production out by this weekend. I think that'll be a strategy going forward if I'm ever embarking on a series. If there's a new game that comes out, I'll pause the series to cover the hotter title, as it were. Anyway, videos. I'm making them. I'm continuing to make them. You're not the boss of me. Let's get on with the questions. Duncan Clarke says, wow, so he covers all the guns in a game as terrible as Ghosts, but can't do 16 episodes on an amazing game like Titanfall? Someone's paid quite a bit by Infinity Ward. Conspiracy ahoy! I wish Infinity Ward paid me, I really do. I mean, sure, I've earned some money with Activision in the past, but there was no financial assistance on any front with the Ghosts guides. No, the prime decision-making factor is keeping my audience happy. You've got to look at the view counts, really. I mean, Ghosts' views weren't spectacular, though. I mean, they were good, don't get me wrong. 100,000 views on a video is a lot of views to have on a video, but compared to Black Ops 2, compared to the earlier stuff I've done, views are down a little bit. But Titanfall, first week, you're looking at about 25,000 views an episode. Now, obviously that affects how much I'll get paid, but it's also a pretty strong signal that a smaller portion of my subscriber base are interested in those videos. So, I like Titanfall. I'm happy to carry on playing Titanfall. But in hindsight, the sensible thing to do for Titanfall would be maybe to cover all of the weapons in a single video. Anyway, this is what happens when you try and keep everybody happy. There are some who'd have me cover every single aspect of Titanfall, and others who'd have me cancel the series right away and move on to something else. But a YouTube channel is a bit like a ship, and I'm the captain. You've got to keep an eye on the waves, you've got to respect your momentum, and you've got to steer her gradually. You can't turn a ship on a sixpence. So don your sou'westers and avast as we set sail for more bountiful shore. I'm going to have a lot of fun with this pirate episode. Karl Marx says, Stu, do you think Britain should be in or out of the EU? In. I'm very pro-Europe. I love Europe. Europe is a wonderful place full of fascinating and diverse countries. As far as a union of those countries is concerned, I think the economic benefits of having a common market outweigh all of the possible downsides. It always comes down to immigration and, they took her jobs. And it is true, if you have migration between 2 countries with a disparity in wealth, for instance, the UK and Bulgaria or Romania, you are going to find there are people who are prepared to come from those countries to work in the UK for a better minimum wage. And on the human level, this can be an issue, Fiercer competition in the labour market can feel unfair when it's as a result of the EU. But that's part of the trouble with unskilled labour, is that it is very fungible. Anyway, this is why minimum wage law exists, to prevent the race to the bottom. And this is also why we have job seekers allowance. So it's not an ideal situation, and it does tug at the old heartstrings when you see people out of work. But you never really see the counterpoint depicted. You don't see the British businesses that trade in the EU and have a much larger bottom line as a result. You don't see the much larger labour market for skilled workers. So if I got offered a job in Germany or Sweden, I could up and take it. No legal kerfuffle, no fuss. And if I decided to settle there, then I could. I have ambitions of one day retiring along the Baltic coastline. Anyway, it's politics. Some of you will disagree. The Americans don't care. But I will say I love the EU, even France. LZ Mike says, have you tried manually cycling inactive cartridges or cases through your deactivated FAL? If so, how well did it work? If not, is it something you consider doing? Well, you see, the law in the UK for deactivated weapons states that to be considered deactivated, all automatic weapons must have a welded shut action, which means my FAL locked up tight. On the exterior, the weapon is pristine, it looks as it would, but the interior is ruined. They weld a rod in the barrel, they score all of the rifling apart from the last inch. The action's welded, the firing pin's removed. It is quite sad, really. I mean, the weapon is completely ruined, but it's the only way to own a gun-shaped object in the UK without some sort of license. Jack Nicholson says, do you ever think of doing a face reveal? No, but I'm considering starting streaming from time to time. My fibre internet was finally installed last week, and I now have 20 megabits up, which may not be impressive to some, but it does now mean I can stream. I tested it out the other night and it worked really well, so I'm probably going to do it again. But I'm going to start slow. I'm not going to tell you what my Twitch username is, not yet. But I'm sure some of you might be able to find me. Tyson Matsuki says, rumour has it that Google is interested in buying Twitch for $1 billion. And I say rumour because it hasn't been announced by either party as of today. Whether this ends up being true or not, what comment does this merit you? You see, up until I got my new internet, streaming wasn't really of a concern for me. But since I realised I can do it, and that it's actually really effortless to do it with the Xbox One, all you need to do is say Xbox Broadcast, and it pops up in the sidebar. Anyway, since then, I've realised that actually I might be quite interested in streaming at some point, because it is pretty effortless. All you have to do is play a game and then people watch you. So the prospect of a unification of Twitch and YouTube is appealing to me on the account of having a unified audience. I don't have a Twitch audience at the minute, so I'd need time to build up momentum, but if I can carry over my YouTube momentum, then it might be a little bit easier. And given that momentum, it might actually be quite profitable if I streamed on a regular basis. I should hastily point out that profit's not my only motive here, it's actually quite enjoyable to do. It's nice to have interaction from your fans. I like seeing all the comments sort of come up on the stream, and if I could answer them as they come, it's like a live bonus. It's exciting. There's no editing to do, and you get to play a game as well at the same time. I think if I were to stream, though, I might have to abandon any notion of not swearing. I think that would go out the window pretty quickly in a live broadcast. Also, this would allow me to better berate the audience watching. Because sometimes Twitch, I think, do need to be put in their place. I've seen them over there. They're too raucous for my liking. So that's my immediate thoughts on the union. It could be useful. From a competition point of view, it might not be good. I don't know. I mean, YouTube have dabbled with streaming before, and they haven't really taken off too much. So I guess they're just going to buy the competition and have a total monopoly on online video. Which is, again, quite scary, you know. It means you're kind of locked into Google's policies, but what are you going to do? Make your own video site with blackjack and hookers? Captain Killfeed says, just finished watching the Wolfenstein video. What's your final verdict on the game? I quite enjoyed it. Oh yes, the impromptu Weapons of Wolfenstein video. Some of you might remember, I was originally going to do a similar video for Metro Last Light. I did a fair amount of work on it, but it never came to fruition. So Wolfenstein presented itself, it seemed to be received relatively well, so I thought I'd take the opportunity at the game's launch to, maybe cover something else, just to stave off boredom for those not interested in Titanfall. So I trotted out the Weapons of format, which is, it's a very repeatable format, which I like, and it's also got a clear expression of the video content. You know exactly what the video is going to be about just by reading the title. And that is a pretty important aspect of a YouTube video. So the game, you'll notice I was playing on PC, which, rustled a few jimmies. Oh, he's got an Xbox home, but he's playing on PC. Yeah. I do normally prefer to record on consoles just because my setup is geared for it. I have a HDMI switch, everything goes through that, it goes into the Blackmagic, and it works beautifully 100% of the time. Now, Wolfenstein runs in OpenGL, doesn't run in Direct 3D, which means Shadowplay doesn't work, not even with the beta drivers. So I have to fall back to my software recording means. I used mirrorless action, which is a fantastic bit of recording software, but it does mean you'll take a performance hit, particularly when recording at 1080p. So instead of playing at a silky smooth 60 frames a second, I'm playing at around 30 or 40 frames a second. It's probably a sign that my PC needs an upgrade, but that'll come eventually. Another thing is that the mirrorless action footage is awful to work with in Vegas. I guess it doesn't keyframe very often because seek times in the edit are abysmal. So bad, in fact, that I had to re-encode all of my footage. So yeah, I like PC gaming, but sometimes recording games on the PC can be a pain. So why not buy the Xbox One version or the PS4 version, Stu? Simple reason, it was £47. I'm not paying that for a single-player game. You know how much I got a CD key for on the PC? £22, less than half the price. Now, I'm a sucker. I'm a sucker for owning games. I like owning console games. I like having boxes on the shelf. And with a digitally owned copy, you do lose the ability to sell, trade in, or otherwise lend your game to other people. So discs do have some advantages on that front. So I often don't mind when the PC game is £30 and the Xbox game is £40. But £22 to £47, get out of it. Anyway, I shall wrap it up here, for I'm pretty tired, and I am still ill, I really am. I could cough for you if you wanted, but I've been very gracious and I've edited them out. So I shall go and quietly hack up some phlegm somewhere. I shall see you this weekend on my main channel for a Watch Dogs video, and next week for another bonus, hopefully. Anyway, until then, farewell.